like little by little you start distancing yourself from them as well, and it's like you start falling apart. And what happens, like if you and that one person had like a really good bond, and like a very true friendship, and then you just let all that go to waste for wanting to be someone else, and that can affect them, because it's like I trusted this person and then they just do this to me, like that can make them have trust issues again, or it can make you have trust issues again.
So we've been burnt. We wear masks because we've been burnt. We have trust issues. So we can like take off that mask, but then we get burnt and we put it back on. And then we lose ourselves. Anyone else ideas on this? All great ideas here. We have a lot of twinkles.
I would like to go. First-hand experience. I don't know. Well, basically, what happened was that this quote is like kind of signifying who I used to be. I used to have like a lot of trust issues, and this quote is just like, I don't know, like a backlash or like a memory that people tend to like cover themselves like with a mask because they are usually afraid of like how many are going, like kind of like society and like judging, but also like they would also um I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like they also like kind of make it as a choice because knowing as like when you're like little, you really don't like your mind is not really fully well developed, and you think that it's okay to like change your mood, kind of like being bipolar, and it just like affects the person of who they are because then they would like not know what is wrong or what is right, and then it really confuses the person because then they won't really know who or how they are, and it just like breaks them down even more. And that I feel like that's like making most of the people like around the world like feel like really bad because they don't know what to do with themselves and they don't know how to like fix themselves, and they're basically in that kind of title that they are not really good in um basically having a mental illness.
So yeah, what I'm hearing, and I agree, is that wearing a mask, a figurative mask, can contribute to like our mental health. Like it hurts us. Anyone else have a
one go, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, basically, I'm adding on to like what Lynette has said. I said this quote to me means like someone who tends to pretend to be someone else or act different in front of different people because they are scared to be criticized. They don't understand that being real to yourself and others is mentally healthy for you, and it won't be good for your relationships with someone. Like you won't feel happy with yourself because you fully convince someone that you are this way different person than who you really are. And when and if they find out who you truly are, sometimes that trust is broken, or like you feel ashamed of yourself for putting up a act.
right? I was thinking about all the marriages that are built on people falling in love with each other's masks. And then eventually like you're in quarantine or something, the mask comes off and then relationships end. In order to fall in love, guys, you need to love yourself and you need to know yourself, your internal identity. And you need to have that mask off. So I love how Wendy connected it to mental health. I love how Maribel's connecting it to relationships. It's very problematic wearing a mask. Would you all say that it's human nature to wear a mask? Yes. 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 Because we're afraid of being judged, yes? So Miss Tyler very much is like a prisoner, right? She was trying to fulfill standard society's definition of beauty. A lot of folks struggle with self-hatred. But now I want to ask this question: how is wearing a mask like a cave? Right? So Miss Tyler actually says in the film, I am in a dark cave. She actually refers to the allegory of the cave, and she references her bandages, her mask as a cave. So that reference is there on purpose, I promise you. So just like stop and to continue the discussion, and I would love for anyone to unmute themselves. We already answered a lot of questions here. But how is the mask like a cave? Wearing a mask like a cave. Does anyone want to speak to this? So the question is, how is wearing a mask like being in the cave of ignorance? We were just talking about how we lose a sense of ourself and we don't even know who we are, how people don't know who we are. So it's kind of like, remember, the cave is ignorance. Remember what the outside world is. So it's like, by leaving the cave, what do we need to do? We need to, so anyone can go, anyone can speak. Samuel says, a mask is like a cave because we are avoiding our true selves. Thank you, Sam. You can also talk your answers out loud. I would love to hear from Nick or Kevin or Karen or anyone. How is wearing a mask like being in a dark cave? Yahira says a mask is like a cave because you're hiding from society as well as yourself. Oh, that's interesting. So we can hide from ourselves. Afraid and choosing not to let others in and express who you really are and the situations that have led you to grow into this person. Interesting. So like situations happen that like force us into the cave, that keep us in the cave. Giving Yahira some points. Anyone can unmute at any time. Wendy says, I feel like a mask is like a to-go when going outside of the cave. What do you mean by that, Wendy? Or anyone?
I mean that you're taking the cave with you, with it, whether it's like an actual like, well, ignorance, and then like mixing it with not trying to fit in.
So that's so interesting. Like, this is a to-go container for ignorance. Like, that's so like you're walking around with ignorance by like walking like, and to clarify, we're not talking about COVID masks, but like we're talking about figurative, not big, but we're walking around with our ignorance when we put our mask on. That's like, we're not being our true selves. Anyone want to unmute? Please interrupt me. Angie says, I think a mask can be used as protection because most people just feel safe fitting in. And why is that dangerous? Susanna says, a mask is like a cave because we are in darkness, avoiding the truth of society and ourselves. We keep to ourselves and let others decide what makes us us. So that's so sad. Others decide who we are. How many kids are there out there who let their parents decide who they are and who they're going to be? You know, like, oh, you're going to be this, you're going to be a doctor. A mask is like a cave because we are hiding and we're hidden in it, and we're hidden from our true selves. Anyone want to unmute and talk about their ideas? Mask is like a cave because we refuse to leave the cave, show our true self, because we are afraid of truth, and we are also afraid of what people are going to say about us. So we're afraid of being judged. But if we all took off our masks, wouldn't it be okay? If we all showed our identity box, wouldn't it be fine? A mask is like a cave because we are hiding our true self, and we don't want to be an outcast. We want to be included, not excluded. right? So back during World War II, folks were afraid of being upstanders and speaking up against Hitler's regimes, right? So they all put on the mask and they all did whatever the dictator said. A mask is like a cave because the mask in the cave represents lies and opinions. You were hiding from everything and everyone and everything. You use this mask as a defensive system. It keeps you safe, but does it really? Maribel, what do you mean by that? Does it really keep you safe? Maybe you can loop back to what we were talking about with mental health and relationships.
Miss, I would like to say something, but I
Thank
don't
you.
know where I'm gonna go with this either. But
Neither do I. Go on.
I just wanted to say I feel like it's easier said than done when we say we should take off our masks and show our inner beauty, because yeah, we can do that, but it's gonna be difficult because n- not everybody wants to show their true selves, because not everybody wants to fit in, whether they like to admit it or not. I remember a time when I wanted to fit in, and like I never liked to show my true self, so I would be someone I'm not. And it's like I said, it's easier said than done. We can't just take off our masks and be like, oh, this is the real me, like it takes time, and sometimes people just don't want to do it because they feel comfortable being in the masks instead of taking them off. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, this is a lifelong journey. Yes. So we're just kind of nudging you. Can we give her some twinkles? The brilliance. I feel the light. I feel like Lynette just took me out of the cave. So just by admitting that it takes a long time, that shows me that Lynette's leaving the cave, because she's aware of how hard it is. She's like, it's not easy. It's not easy. Orion, do you want to explain what you just wrote? Orion? Does anyone want to build on to what Lynette said? All right, guys.
I would like to add that people also wear masks to like impress others.
Right? But why? But then, like, do they really even know you? Right? Don't you want people to love you for who you are? And that's like truth, right? So you got to love yourself. You got to find your truth in your identity box, love yourself, and then you could take off your mask. So, like, it kind of like goes, and it's not easy, right? But we're starting a lifelong journey of being out of the cave and being in the light. All right. So, sorry, I just hit the wrong thing. 1 second.